Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today, we're going to do a fast and loose watercolor landscape painting. In front of me, I have a quarter sheet of Stonehenge Aqua, a 140-pound cold press, 100% cotton, and I just thoroughly coated it with water with a large hake brush. Palette-wise, really not sure what I'm going to utilize. Kind of just painting just to paint today. But feel free to grab a brush and follow along. We'll start off with some raw sienna, and we'll utilize that to kind of map out our scene, get an idea of what we want to create. I utilize a style that it's based off of a lot of the tonalist landscape painters, the oil painters, especially Dennis Sheehan and Stuart Davies, where they'll apply the oil, they'll wipe it in and wipe it out. And I'll utilize that with watercolor. You'll find that with really wet, saturated cotton paper, you can really go back and forth and add and subtract. So I think that I might want to crop the sky a little bit. Maybe bring those down some. As you use the paper towel, it'll pull the water from those areas. But you could go right back in with the wet hake brush. And I have no idea what I want to paint. Hammy, why are you clawing at the door, bud? He's trying to get into the closet for some reason. Alright. Let's grab a little bit of ultramarine blue. A little something in the sky. It's not going to really mix a green with that raw sienna. We're going to get more of a gray. Grabbed a little bit of paint right on the edge of the brush, so that's where those darker streaks are coming from. I'm literally just moving really fast right now, just trying to get a compositional idea going. I'm thinking lower trees than usual, and maybe pulling some area between the trees. I'll grab some raw sienna, some burnt sienna now, warm it up a little bit. But I really want to go on the darker and muddier side of things. Let's grab some burnt umber. Grabbed a lot. Let's see. Landmass. The trees here. Didn't build up my background trees as much as I would have wanted to. Let's do a little bit more tonal value back in there. I just don't want it as dark as this grouping, this distance. I can pull back with the paper towel, just back and forth. This is just one of the blue shop rags that you can find in automotive department. I feel that it just handles moisture and everything a lot better than the regular paper towels, but whatever works for you and whatever you have on hand. Let's bring that down. And grab the number 1. And we'll go wet and wet with that. This will softly diffuse. It'll give kind of an illusion of detail. It's a steel term from Dennis Sheehan. Sorry, Stuart Davies. Move things around. So I will say this, of course, you're always welcome to follow along with anything that I do. I have tons of videos up on YouTube. You are always more than welcome to sign your own name to anything you do when you follow along. And you have my express permission to sell anything you do whenever you follow along with one of my videos. I want you guys to be successful, or at least have money and supplies for supplies. If you want to support this channel, I have a whole bunch of links down below. And I have a lot of exclusive content up on the Patreon and the Ko-Fi now for supporters. So thank you all so much for your support. Really appreciate it, and it really allows me to explore different mediums, different brands, and different techniques. I think I want to start exploring a little S-shaped composition here, where this landmass is coming out. Its reflections coming down. We have that S occurring here. I'm going to very gently push that back. There we go. Still have plenty of burnt umber on this brush. With the hake brush, you can get a lot of textures, and you can get a lot done with just the hake brush. I've experimented with aging hake brushes and trying to get them to different points. This is the Ranson brush that you could find on Cheap Joe's Art Supply, which works very well. Soon, me and the other admins, moderators of the Ranson Disciple page will do a live chat, or a Zoom meeting chat, just talking about different brushes, our experiences, what modifications we've experimented with. We just recently did a live chat on different watercolor papers, and that's been just a lot of fun, having those discussions and filming those things. I'm thinking I'm going to introduce raw umber now. Raw umber is kind of like not too often found on palettes. I always feel like that's the lesser used one of the earth tones, but it just has a nice kind of cooling dark to it, and it just works really well with the burnt umber. And doing a lot of monochromatic and two-tone and single pigment paintings, three tones, the triads, the raw umber really started to shine. So we're still wet and wet. I'm looking for those darks that I had talked about. The scene is imaginary, but the one that started to come together was loosely based off of a scary movie I watched the other night. It was called The Curse. Not really a scary movie person. It was more of kind of a thriller, but it was good, and there were some very interesting cinematography films where I just thought, oh, that's tonalism, that's that moody feel. You can grab some Payne's Gray. Let's go dark too. It's funny, sometimes you find yourself watching a movie or a show and you want to stop the show and just take a picture of the screen because of how awesome the landscape and the scene looks. Go bring trees up in here. When I'm doing this, I'm stretching my paper out so I don't tape my paper down. Just a little darker value so that these pop a little bit closer. I think we'll scrape to pull back to the white of paper in some spots. I had a awesome scraping tool that was sent to me by a fellow painter. I can't find it on the desk at the moment. I've been doing a lot of different mediums and experimenting with a lot of different things, so the art desk has just been a little messy. Right now it's just scraping to kind of the dark where it would damage the paper and just do a backfill. So it may not be dry enough yet, but I can utilize this time to put a little bit of dark scrapes in. This is somewhere where I've found myself floundering at times, and what I mean by that is scraping and getting the backfill dark lines during the wet and wet, the extreme wet and wet. If you have a big tonal shift, the dark lines that stay are just significantly darker than the dried paint around it. So just being a little wary of that. What we can do is do a partial below drying, dry off, and then scrape. So let me pause this. It took a few seconds with the blow dryer. I can see some areas are damp, some areas are wet, some areas, there's probably nothing that's completely dry, but now we're going to try to pull back whites, and there we go. So you see that it's a little bit easier. So just learning the moisture content or the moisture stages of the paper is the fun part of this wet and wet style. Trying to help them sit in place a little bit. Using the sharper edge. Okay, now I'm going to do a complete dry off and we'll see how it shifts now. All right, and there we are after the drying stage. A little damp in some areas. And usually I would then go into my next stage and paint on top of this. But I'm enjoying this soft, moody, atmospheric feel that came out of this. I don't think it shifted too much where it's too light. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and sign this and leave it where it's at. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back with more videos. Of course, please like, subscribe, follow, and let me know in the comments down below what you would like to see, or if there's anything you would like me to cover. Take care and have a great day. Bye.